Okay. So I'm going to download that and pop it into my thing, okay? Saving the
That feels
image.
cool. That feels cool.
Yeah. And I'm going to use one of my favies, favorite tools ever. And that's Pure Ref. Love Pure Ref. All right.
I honestly think as a newbie to a program, the more you crash and burn and find out how to do something is the best way to learn stuff.
That's 100%
Really?
true. That's
Yeah.
100% the case. Yeah. So what I'm going to look at here, maybe I can look in a little bit close. That's about as high. Okay. Based off of their method, it looks to me like the barrel itself, the base of the barrel is a single mesh. The bands around the barrel are a mesh. The lid and probably base might even be a separate mesh, and the bolts might be a separate mesh, right? So I'm going to start off with the base in the middle. I'm going to show you some extra stuff on how to do that. Oops, wrong.
I'm like, how'd you do that?
Actually, so this demo is also designed for an Unreal pipeline integration. So I've got some of my settings in Maya that will be a little different than yours, which is why my thing is rolling in on the side instead of upright.
You're gonna learn custom
and
setup.
why my grid is super big compared to what you probably see. So don't worry about those things too much. Those are just personal settings that I have set aside because I'm trying to make them Unreal friendly. Let me also, since we've got a couple of 3D modeling, I don't want to say noobs, but budding artists, artists who are becoming more versed in it. And I'm going to pop this down a little here so you can see. All right. So hopefully we're in good shape together. All right. First, I want to rotate this puppy on a 90-degree axis. Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question? Before you go on?
Yeah.
You remember when you first looked at my barrel and you said, let's see if this is on, this is what I asked in class the other day, to see if it was on center.
Mm-hmm.
And you did something on the right-hand side and all the numbers, like the transformation or something, to make sure it's all on center. Like you picked everything and you made sure it was on the zero axis.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I do.
What did you do?
Okay, so when we're like, all right, when you first start off with the primitive, right, it starts off at 000 on your translate and rotate and scale, right? It just starts off there.
Yeah.
But as we get in here and we start like moving stuff around.
The only thing is I didn't start off with a cylinder. I started off with a cube and then made it into planks and then curved it, so I had to move it to zero. It would
do the same thing. It would do the same thing because, like, what I'm basically showing you, and what I mean to try to be showing you, and I'll try to describe it a little bit more detail. When I have something selected here in the face value here, and then I move it over, or maybe I was playing around with verts and I'm moving stuff over, right? Like, I mean, we're modeling, right? We do stuff.
Yeah.
Then when I go back to object view, I'm all askew. See? So what you can do is you can manually reset your pivot by toggling D. I don't like to do this though, because it's kind of not great. In that, like, I kind of have to move it back over to the center and I'm still askew. Because the pivot is more centered to my object, but not in the real world parameters. Like if I put this back at 0, I'm still way over there. So I would have to then freeze my transforms. So rather than do that, which you can do it that way, but the eyeball-y method is a little rough.
You're still a little off.
Yeah. When you're doing asset creation like a barrel for an integrated, like, or to put that into a real-time render, that's not a big deal. Unless we need that grid to snap. Unless these are things, for example, if you're playing on an orthographic game, it has a grid that, the player gets to decorate their house or whatever, and the assets need to go somewhere. That's a player specific mechanic that it really requires it to be on that. Also, you Tim, love
Me?
to throw grenades at anthills, and you'll want to use beefier problem solves and solutions
Yeah.
like radial symmetry or radial array, for example. And
know
the
why.
problem with that is that you need to be like unit specific and precise, because they're always going to base it off of a zero. Well, depends if it's like world or local transform like related. But so for now, I'd rather you not worry about that too much, because that skill is also part of the learning how to model process.
Yeah.
So don't jump ahead just yet until we've practiced a little bit.
I still want to. I just want to fly.
Yeah. So when you see that like you're offset like that, what you could do is you can move your guy back here, move your stuff to be more center. To do that, like to be a little bit more specific, is like using your orthographic views.
Okay.
Like seeing this here, that's about right. And I'm also going to use, let's see, a side view. I think I want a side view. Sure. So this is 0. So I'm going to move this to about there. And so now we're a little bit more good to go. This is easiest to do from the start rather than kind of go off the rails with a thing and then bring it back. But for now, like we just worry about that. I like to have that hovering on top of the horizon. There's also a way, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm going to look it up, because you don't have to memorize everything. I'm a pretty skilled modeler, and I can't remember half of the stuff that Maya does, because I'm toggling between like Max and Maya and stuff. Like it's hard to remember everything, and you don't have to do that to yourself either. So let's look at Maya. Let's see. Center pivot or center pivot. What does the Googs say to center pivot? Not pivot. Pivot. Move that guy over. Center pivot in Maya. How do you center the pivot? Transform tool, select an object, press the down arrow to select the object. Modify center pivot. Okay. So that's another thing we can do. We can sit here. Let's pretend. Let's test it. I want to make you all wonky. You're like, wah, way over there, friggin' way off. And that way, when we look at this, there's our pivot. It's all effed up. If I go to modify center pivot, boom, right to the middle.
Oh,
hot dog.
look at that.
Yeah, that'll help you. But
That'll help a lot.
keep in mind, though, this is also a thing. This works really well when you've only uniform scaled up or down, right? Like, you didn't do any of this nonsense.
You're right. I didn't do any.
Where you're like, that looks right.
Like that. Yeah, looks great.
Yeah. Because like if I here, for example, I'm gonna just do this thing really quick. Yeah. Cool. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's fabulous.
Let's see what happens when I do center pivot. Whoa! It centers it to an average point in space of the whole asset. And sometimes our mind is like, why didn't it center it to the point here? Because that's not the middle of the object anymore, right? So careful there. Careful there. Let me, oops, I undid the wrong one. Can't redo. Redo. Control Shift Z. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna move you up. All right. I love Pure Ref. I do. Yeah, my weirdness. Okay, so if I'm looking at this correctly, centered it to the object. I'm actually going to undo that because that's where I want it. I want it there. And that looks fine to me. Or mostly to 0, I'd say.
Sauce on a dog.
What's that?
I said sauce on a dog.
Yeah, I mean, I will be doing some stuff that you're going to want to do, because it's kind of like what radial symmetry or radial array would do for you, but we're going to do it by hand because there's not that many. Let's try front. Make sure you're good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, because this is
And-
vital. I mean, vital having it on center because if you're trying to like rotate, do other stuff, it needs to be at a zero axis. Axes.
I kind of spitballed it for you, I think, a little bit. Like I was like, look at this, right? When we did it in class. So at least now I think you can get like a visual.
I totally see it.
That's how that does the thing.
It takes it once or twice, crash and burn, and I'll be, oh,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. So I'm a perspective human. And so like, let's pretend that we're trying to make this barrel right here. It's got some other things. It's got like this little
That's the good stuff.
cork.
Yeah.
Is it the cork? Oh, okay.
Is it cool?
It's a cork. All right. So we're going to worry about like texture, or I mean, not texture is on here, but I mean materials like texture files or materials on it. We're just going to worry about like, how do I make this look cool? Okay. So I'll put you here. Do you want to see how you put it on a, image plane in the scene, or are you like, this is fine? Pure ref is working fine.
No, this is good. Image planes are always about the same, no matter.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Most stuff. All right. So now is where I start to eyeball. Like, this is where my artisticness comes into play. Now, firstly, what we were doing in class was super basic. I was mostly showing you guys how to just do basically a low poly and build it up from there.
Yeah.
But when we're doing something like what you've got over here on this dude,
Yeah.
this is going to be a little bit.
Well, the individual boards, couldn't you just do a bevel on the edges?
I could. But
Like each one?
What I'm going to
Yeah.
do is I'm going to develop what I lovingly call a base mesh. You will see that in the future classes, but you know,
Okay.
we're just goofing around, so I can talk about whatever I want now. And so my base mesh is going to be eventually subdivided either in Maya or in ZBrush, depending on where I want to do my high poly work. My high poly workflow is I will base model out in a DCC like Maya or Max or whatever studio wants me to, and then bring it into ZBrush to do it. Mostly I do that because I'm not very fast at modeling basic stuff in ZBrush. I'm a sculptor there, so the ZBrush pipeline is a little wonky, but you can do that. It's not typical, because ZBrush is pretty beefy. And I don't think it's just really accepted as a common pipeline integration where you just do everything in ZBrush. But ZBrush and Pixelogic will tell you, we can though. You can though. I'm like, yes, we know that you can, but
I was trying to do when I took the course, trying to do the hard surface modeling in ZBrush. It's a little tricky. I mean,
it is. But it's doable though.
Yeah,
like you
it's
can
doable.
do it. And we're gonna do some some hard surface stuff here. And honestly, what I'm gonna do in this barrel image is going to be a little bit hard surface, because like the bands here are hard surface, right? Those definitely would be.
I'm wondering if like other people are like, what's hard surface?
What's hard surface? I mean, sure. So hard surface modeling is sort of just like a quick way of saying like how you would model mostly kind of like tech and mech, things like machinery. Let's look at hard surface modeling. Hard surface modeling looks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is hard surface modeling. I'm gonna actually do some basic hard surface modeling on our barrel, because we'll need it for our bands, right? Are you giddy? Are you giddy? Tom?
Class is so quiet. The classes.
Yeah, it's fun. I do enjoy modeling very much. All right, so I'm gonna just kind of pop that in here. Do the same for the bottom. If I'm going too fast for anybody and you would like me to slow down or describe what I just did or something, please say so. I
have a question.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Brandon, by the way.
Hi, Brandon.
Why do you do each side individually and not like do it at the same time to get the exact same measurement? Do you know what I mean?
Could. So this can get let's do both at the same time. Like I could do that side and this side together. To undo that. So we're there. So I've got the bottom and the top selected. I should be able to do it this way, and both will listen to me. Maybe if I squeeze it, yeah, it will work. In 3D Studio Max, you need to have the verts selected for it to behave that way, not faces, and Maya allows it. So part of the reason I do them individually is a little bit my, we'll see, human brain transfer of working between programs, of not remembering like how well some programs handle.
I see.
But like, in this case, there's no reason not to. In this case. So yeah, but like in 3D Studio Max, if you tried to do that with faces, they would flatten the faces individually, not bring them closer. I would need to do that in the vert selection for it to listen the way I kind of wanted it to there. But good question. That made me think. Like, I'm not sure. Going to.
Did you do a little bit of deer in the headlights there?
It was more like thinky. Like, why do I do that?
The hamster's going. The hamster's going.
This one actually one of my favorite things about teaching is that happens. I've talked to a lot of people that really talented creators, like artists and game designers and stuff. I'm like, you guys should teach. Shit's awesome. And they're like, I don't know. Like, there's some stuff that I feel like I should really understand better. And by the way, you never feel that you understand everything. You just never do. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I'm like, but I promise you, teach a couple quarters, and they make you so much better because they ask you questions about why you did a thing, and I'll be like, why do I do it that way? And then I just learned a difference between Max and Maya right now. So I love it.
It is so good to be in one of your classes again. It's been almost a year.
I know. I know. That's nice of you to say. So now remember how I was talking earlier, Tom, about how like it looks like these Tim, it looks like these have different meshes that are attached. I'm sorry. I have another student named Tom in another class, and he's also like talky. And I'm like,
so talky.
Tom. I like it though. I mean that with the most positive way possible.
It's okay. It's don't lie. No, I'm just kidding.
So what we could do, because what I showed you all in class was basically how to build off of the mesh and keep it like watertight and not add any additional geometry to it. Or when I say add additional, I mean like maybe coming in here and adding another piece. I think I'd showed you that with the bolts, right? And we're going to do that with the bolts.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stop. Yeah, so this is about where I would stop, I think, for the barrel as a base to start. But we're going to do more stuff to it. Like, I'm definitely not done. I just wanted to add, I think, the bands. And I believe that the bands are separate pieces. I think in ZBrush, they would be subtools, not built off of this original mesh.
I was thinking this for the bands. See those edges around the exterior? Selecting those and do a bevel to make one close to it.
Like this one?
Yeah, and do a bevel.
Sure, that would work. And what that would do is build it off of the mesh here, off of this geometry. Like if I were, for example, it's effectively going to do about that same calculation.
Right.
And notice how if I double click over here, it selects all of it, which means these edges are welded the way this edge is welded, right? This edge is to these two polygons, what this edge is to these two polygons. They are one. They're welded together. I'm going to undo that. And the reason I don't want to do that in this case is because I'm going to show you a preview of a subdivision, and I want you to see what it does to the geometry. You see that? It smooths out the whole thing. Now, I mean, I do want that, but I don't. I do and I don't. It's behaving almost how I want it to. And this is where some of the basics of hard surface modeling is going to come into play. By adding additional edge loops and additional geometry to the tighter corners, we can harden out those corners. But I want to keep the geometry separate from the band and the the wood barrel underneath it. The metal and the wood are two different materials completely, and I would sculpt the texture of those two materials differently. Now, can you imagine trying to come in here? Let's say that this was all one mesh where you had built right off of it. See how it's smoothing it like that? We'd have to get in real tight with some edge loops to make it hard edge. Then when we bring it into ZBrush, I'd have to sculpt each section while it's connected to the band. So wouldn't it just be so much easier if I could turn off the bands and only have the wood so that I could sculpt the wood chiseled down and it kind of connect with itself, right? Okay, so that's how I want to build my mesh, is to get it ready for me to be able to do that work in ZBrush. That's why this is kind of a high level sculpt. So that's okay. I'm only going to really worry about getting my wood barrel part to that point. And I would say, I believe that this top piece, oops, daisy, wrong button. This top piece here needs to go. Yeah. I deleted the vert so that I could select the face and just delete the face. And if you want to see what I did again, I'm going to do it over here, but this time I'm going to do it in the regular view, right? I'm going to select the vert right here. I'm going to hit Control Backspace so it removes all of the edges and the vertice. Select the face and delete it. I just did that because it's easier than just like selecting each individual try all the way around.
Okay, Control Backspace. I just hit delete. Okay, so that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I've got the hole. That's okay. I'm going to show you a couple of things. There's a few ways we could go about this. I could build off of what I have here and then just reuse that geometry. For example, what I could do, what I could do here, let's pretend I was going to do this a different way. I do like showing you guys different ways. I'm going to select these guys, deselect the shit I did over here. So that's what I want. I want just that selected. I'm going to extrude it and then delete that geometry I just made so that I can keep this guy separate. So now this is two separate meshes. Now check this out. I'm going to put this down, back down again. Now I'm going to hit that subdivision preview again by hitting the number 3. And look at that. It doesn't do this weird lippy thingy, right? Now, the problem is that when I bring this into ZBrush, it's still going to treat this as all one mesh, meaning it's one subtool. I do want this to be a separate subtool, so I'm going to actually make a different object for this. But see the difference between it being welded and not, and how the subdivision will work on it. So if you weren't going to take it into ZBrush and you were going to use this as a smoothed object in your Unreal or Unity or whatever, that would be fine. And you can keep them together. And normally I would have you make sure that all of your assets are one chunk like this. For your 218 assignment, that's what I'm asking, that you've collapsed everything to be one object so that when I'm in my object mode, I'm selecting the whole thing, right? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this guy. I'm gonna come back over here and go that way again, deleting this guy. Control Backspace. Actually, I'm going to do this when it looks normal so that you can see what it looks like normal town. Vertex selection, Control Backspace, face selection, delete. Okay, so that is going to be the base of my wood here. I'll add some stuff to it, but I just want to get the other pieces in. So for the top part, I'm going to make another cylinder. Comes in sideways because that's how I've got it set up. Sorry, everyone. Oops. Let's pop that back up here. Now, close. I'm going to shrink this. This is going to be my lid. I definitely don't need the bottom part here. I don't need this at all. In fact, I probably don't even need the side, but I might leave it on there because I think it might look cooler if I did. There's something about perfectly fleshed geometry that like just occludes into it without like a crack or something in there that I don't love. So I'm going to be a little extra with it. Which I don't even think they did it. I'm going to be that way. Look at that when it's a 3. Okay. I am going to, again, remove this base. Control backspace and the face. Looks good to me. Make the lid feel more like a lid. When I hit 3, though, we notice that it kind of bubbles like, I don't know. This feels like coffee foam on a cup. Like, ooh, latte. Just kidding. I do want it to be a little bit beveled in because I'm going to be extra with it. So I'm going to add an edge loop. Now, I'm going to toggle you another view now. This is 2. If we look at 1, this is the geometry we have. 2 is a cage of the geometry we have, plus an additional render of a subdivision. 3, just the subdivision. But, wow, it actually is showing me, there we go. Okay. I was like, what happened there? That was a bug. That should not have happened. So I am going to be adding this edge right here, and look what happens to that curve. Boop. All right. Interesting. It tightened it a little bit. Notice that? I was like, oh. Yeah, you could have done a bevel here. In fact, we can do that now. I'll go ahead and do, excuse me. I would like to bevel this. I believe it's under mesh. Or is it edit mesh? There it is. I'm going to pull up the dialog box, though, and start playing with this a little bit. I'm going to tone it down. What happens if I apply it? Okay. It made it pretty tight. Let's back that up. That's pretty tight bevel. Made it really tight. Do you see it? They're both there? Or is that just a little hard to see in the stream? It's very small.
You can see.
Now, part of us sometimes want to think that like the tighter the bevel, the tighter the hard edge loop. And that's only partially true because it's still calculating an average smooth from the furthest point over here. And if you want that to be tighter, additional edge loops are really key. So I'm going to select this edge loop. I'm going to shrink it a little bit to prove my point so you can see it a little clearly. See, there it is. 3. I make it smaller or wider, kind of gets that tight. Some of us get tempted to be like, I want that really tight though. And you go really hard on it, but no, don't do that. No, look what we did. Oh no, it's ugly, especially when we look at it from the one we've got. That's bad. That's ugly geometry. We don't want that. So I'm going to just add an additional loop around here. Okay. Right here. Boop. Now look at 3. Oh, that's better. It's a little bit better. General rule, 2 or 3 edge loops are usually about as tight as you need it to get. I'm gonna, I keep hitting 2 because that's a different hotkey for another program. I am gonna tighten this though because I like it tighter. Just a little bit. All right. That feels good. Going to make this guy a little smaller, all the way around. Oh, no. There. Now I'm going to pop it down. And part of the reason why I wanted that bevel was so that I could do this feel to it. Three? Okay. So I could have that like lip right there. I don't like it when it's hard flush. I like to add a little lip to it. There we go. Yeah. Perfect. It's pretty good. Now the barrel also is a little tight. Like we were loose. Like I feel like that's really, really, smooth, like a little too curvy. So I'm going to do the same thing I did to the lid. To this, I'll put that there so we could take a closer look. Yes, you could do bevels. Bevels are a little harder, I think, to calculate because you kind of have to handle like about how tight you want them through the box. You can adjust it later, though. It's not a big deal. If bevel is your preferred, you can do it. But I just like to add some stuff. That also works really well. Now, this is not necessarily a one-to-one difference between a bevel and it is for hard surface modeling. It's pretty decent solution, but it's not great if you want a proper bevel to average between the corner and actually split that proper smooth polygon across it. So, I mean, that is the benefit of a bevel that could work in better ways for different reasons. But in this case, this is sufficient. I'm going to select this guy. I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate it. You can see there it is. I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Whoop. Whoop. In this case, -90. Go. Up. Bring it down. Leave that about there. Let's see what you look like. And I'm going to look over here. Hey, all right. We got a pretty smooth bevel. Now, both of these objects here, I think they could probably stand to be the same subtool, so we could merge them. I want basically these two to be one object. So how to do that? Have all of the objects selected. You can tell if you have them selected through your outliner. You want to make sure that it is the object mode selection. And I mean, just by selecting them over here, we'll do it. So I got 2 objects selected. I'm going to go to display. No, mesh. Go to combine. And it combined these 2 objects. So now they are 1. When I select them in my scene, they are 1 asset. However, Model does this stupid thing. It's not actually done. It's really, it's a cool thing that it does, but I rarely use it is all. Is that I've got this guy here, but what are these? Like, how come these are here? It's the cylinder, but it's cylinder 2 and 3 with with transform applied to it, and then I've got this guy here. And here's what it's actually doing. Is it is taking your object that we have here, cylinder 2 and cylinder 3 that I made. It is applying a calculation to it, saying, hey, do all this stuff. We're going to run some thing. And what it is we're going to make it combined with each other to be one thing. That's the math, okay? So pretend that these transforms are like an equation or a math problem. mx plus b equals, right? And the equal sign or the output is what comes out the other side. That's this guy. This is the answer. So this is the math problem. This is the answer. But what's cool about algebra is that if you have access to the variables, you can change the variable, like change instead of mx plus 2x plus b or whatever, it could be 3x plus b, and it will change the output, right? So what it's saying here is that we can go in here and we can change this stuff up. So that's why it tries to save it for you. I don't want that though. I don't want that. And when we do our export, I definitely don't want all these transforms applied to it because a whole bunch of stuff can break from that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my object that I want it to be, or the answer to the math problem it's doing. Then head over to modify. Oh, no, excuse me, wrong one. Edit. Go to delete by type and hit delete history. And it gets rid of that calculation and only gives me the answer. I only want the asset. I don't want all the math. I mean, I want it to do the math for me so that I can get what I want. But for now, I really have no need to keep it going, right? So there. All right. Should I combine these two? I could. For your 218 assignment, yes. For what we're going to try to do in ZBrush, no. So the answer is not a yay or nay, right or wrong. It's dependent upon what you're going to do with the thing. I still need to make the bands though. These bands, yeah. And I also say that maybe this guy could stand to be a little tighter. The edges of the wood. Yeah, definitely. So let's bring it back here. I'm going to keep plugging away at this guy. Ooh. Okay.
So it's kind of like its own procedural modeling then, I guess.
Is that like what's
technically
happening?
every tool is a procedural application. But when we think of procedural in passing discussion, what we're really thinking is like, can we write scripts to create these things automatically for us? And yes, we can. I mean, you can in Maya, you can in Max, and you can in Blender, but you usually have to use a specific script to write in those programs.
Yeah.
Houdini. Here's what's up, guys. Houdini.
Yeah, Houdini I've messed around with a little bit.
Yeah, good.
That is a
Please do.
mind brain killer.
It is, because it makes you think about the procedure that Maya does for us. You have to tell it to do now in Houdini. But like that's so powerful because it's so incredibly scalable. As you can change out whole meshes that you create as your variables, and therefore you can turn couches or chairs into sofas, you could change out the backs to a different style of chair. And suddenly what used to take a 3D modeler like a month to do, you can do in a day or two, you know? You can pump out so many different assets that way. Anyway, that's part of the reason why learning Houdini is like, for your portfolio or your resume. Your resume. I want to be clear. It's good for your resume. It's only good for your portfolio if the work you're making in it is pretty strong. So you're better off just showing your ZBrush sculpts and then listing that you also know Houdini in your resume than you are showing the stuff you make in Houdini that is a little basic, if that makes sense. All right. Yeah, so now I'm going to make the bands. So I'm going to show you how's the way I want to do this. I will show you, I'm going to show you a different way. Something kind of, oops daisy. I always forget to turn off my insert edge loop whenever I do that. I'm going to leave you one, come back to you. So it's my model. Let's see. I want, now, Tim, you were like wanting to bevel this. I think I can do it, but what I want to do, I'm going to do something a little different, kind of like what you're talking about, but just a little different. I want these guys here, I want to build off of them to make the band. And I still can do that. And I'm going to show you a fast track from basically using the stuff that we've talked about in class already to do that. I'm going to just extrude this out like, whoop. And then I'm going to delete those. Yeah. I'm going to pop you up. Now let's see if I can do this. I'm going to double click these two edges here because they're, broken now. I'm going to bridge them. Boom. So now make those soft. Whoop. I've got the start of a band happening here. Built right off.
Bam.
Hot dog. Now here's the thing though. I built it off of the mesh, and right now if I go to like object mode, I select it, it's the same thing, and I want the band to be its own identity. I want it to find itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to select the part that I want to be separate, and I'm going to come up here to mesh, go to separate. And now it has just done what merge does, but the opposite. But remember though, like we have the same problem. we need to delete history. So let's go ahead and go to edit, delete by type, delete history. Boom. Or sorry, delete.
Hey, but a question for you.
Yeah.
So the band looks great. Can you zoom in on real fast?
Yeah, this.
Yeah, if you go upward, if you like tilt upward, you can see where it doesn't quite meet, the edges.
Oh yeah, I haven't finished it. No, this is not done. No. For sure not done. For sure. Let's go to, you're not deleting the history like I want you to. So I'm going to come back here. All right, let's come over here. What I would do at this point is I would take these edges and then whoop, maybe take the whole thing and bring it in to fit a little closer to what I want it to. I think that might even be what they did, because this is like kind of,
It looks like I
Well, it's
think
really
they added.
close. Like that's almost what they did, huh? Like almost.
I think so. And they just added the really fine detail in ZBrush or something.
Oh no, absolutely, that's what they did. That's absolutely what they did. We wouldn't be sculpting in the ripple or the ridges of these fine details, the texture, the wood grain.
Yeah.
In
How about
unless it affected the silhouette, like this guy here.
See that? Like,
Here?
couldn't you just add the vertices in the top
Yes,
plank?
you could. You could. You can just pop them down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
some
what
of
I did.
these you can even do, I think, probably as is. Object mode. Oh, wait. Let's just see. Ah. All right, that's like really rough, but yes, you could. Also, these are low enough, and if you subdivide enough in ZBrush, you could chisel into it. And I mean, you don't have to. That's gonna start to fall into like how much you, I guess, whatever process you feel more comfortable with. You can. I've seen some really cool stuff where you really get like some of the major cuts and chops into the wood done in the base mesh level, and I've seen other people do it in ZBrush. I'm pretty sure he did it in ZBrush. Like from the looks of that looks like it was chiseled in with the brushes in ZBrush to me. Yeah, like that to me, that's what that looks like. I could be wrong. Anywho, let's take a look at our band. Whoop. I'm gonna do 3 on that. That's a little no. That's a no. That's a no in my book. So I'm gonna start adding some edges, some hard edges here. Bing boom. Boom boom. Do another one here. Just kidding. There we go.
Did you just squeak?
I do. I make noises when I do it. I know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I feel like if
super funny. I was like, where does squeak come from?
if 3D models made noises, that's what they'd sound like. All right, so let's pop the ooh. Let's look at you, and what happens if I look in object mode? Boom. Hey, that looks pretty good. I don't know why I've got some weirdness happening over here. I bet that I've got a hard loop or hard edge, so I'm gonna soften it. Yep. Hey. That's pretty tight. Barrel. That's I love looking at the high poly, like, smooth. Ooh, feels good, I'm feeling pretty confident that this guy's okay. If I were to like duplicate it and pop it down here and then rotate it. Whoop. Oops, daisy. Oh no, what number is that? Okay, yeah, it's -180. All right, let's put you back up there.
I'm watching this and making homemade chicken parmesan.
Delicious. Sounds amazing.
The sauce I've been working on for 2 days, actually.
Yeah. If anybody's trying to chat at me, I've got the DMA study hall text channel up. If you have questions in there, I'm like poking in there a little bit. If you're talking in general, I'm not sure. I have to switch over. No, it doesn't look like it. All right. I just wanted to make sure because I'm hearing bleeps and bloops and I don't know, kind of a big deal. So I don't know if it's you guys talking to me or a bunch of other people. I'm kidding. It's probably you guys.
It's in the visual design tab, so it's not us.
What's that?
It's in the visual design tab, so it's not us. You're all good.
Oh, that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that people are like sharing their stuff though. You guys. So let's see. I feel like this guy, we could do some stuff with that. Or you can or not. Like, I mean, at this point, we definitely could. And how we would do that is I would probably how would I do that? Probably start like with.
Can I say how I think I would do
Yeah,
it?
go for it. I'm solving it in a couple of different ways.
I would select one of the edges all the way around
Mhm.
and do the bevel. So it's like just one segment and get them close together. And then like select all of them so they go all the way up.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then
that would be good.
the face, delete that face, and then close that border.
Yep, that'd be good. That would be really good. You can bevel this, delete there, and like pull it in. That would also work. That would work. Yeah, let's try it out. I don't know. Might be great. Bevel. Okay. Cool. It did it. Bevel. Whoa. I got something on the other side selected? Or do I just have bevel still? Okay. I'm hiding you. What are you doing? Control H will hide your assets so that you can just look closely. Oh, I think I know what it's. Oh, it's selecting the whole thing. That's not what I want. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just get in here. Oh, I know. If I select you and you, yeah, that's what I want. Oh, I bet this would work. Whoop.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's yeah. Oh, oop! But then you got that weirdness.
No, that's okay. I'm not worried. I ain't scared yet. Worried. I ain't worried yet. Let's take this to 1. I would select these verts. Just kind of I get a little rough. Could probably even delete them. Don't love that, so I'm going to soften that up a little bit. Don't love that. Yeah. I think I could delete that edge and just be like, boop. And then delete this vert and this vert and be like, boop. Okay. Please listen to me. There we go. There we go. All right. Feeling a little okay. Little okay. Now this is where like these ortho views are really helpful. Look at the top. Yeah. 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 Do, 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 do.
Oh, speaking of orthographic view,
Yeah?
mine's saying orthographic views are currently locked, and I've been having a lot of trouble trying to unlock it.
Your ortho views are locked?
Yours aren't.
No.
What am I doing wrong?
Oh,
I
do
get
you
the
mean
same
like
error. I
you
get
can't
the same-
rotate around them? Yeah, no, you can't.
Drag.
Yeah, you.
Well, no, not. I just want to drag. Like.
Oh, like
yeah, I can only zoom in and out.
to pan left and right is Alt middle mouse click. That's not working for you?
Middle. Okay, alt middle's working.
Okay.
I was left clicking.
Weird.
That's the problem.
That was
okay.
Oy, so scary. Honestly, I think would have been better is if I actually planned that out before I added all those bevels. But I mean, hey, like that's the thing we could do. We could remove them and try again and kind of, like we've talked about before. Oh, that's looking pretty decent. It's looking pretty decent. Get in there.
Yeah, that was cool with the bevel right there.
Yeah. All right, I just gotta do the other one. Put a bevel right there. You know what? I don't want to do this because I could just bevel this guy, but it's gonna give me an end gun. But that's okay. I could fix that. All right. Well, let's do it.
You can do it.
Let's do it. I don't know. Let's do it. Bevel. Doesn't want to listen. Nope. All right. So I need bevel. Give me that. I don't need it that tight, but let's like do I don't know. Let's do 0.5. 0.5. Apply? No, too much. 0.3? 0.1? Apply. Okay. This no good. Ooh. This, not good. We do need to do something with this. I could, how do I want to do this? I could cut. I think I could cut here. Is it the crease tool? No, it's a cut. Multi-cut tool. Multi-cut. So I'm going to add just a whoop. To boop. Enter. Boop, boop. There. Now I've got no engons. Let's look at 3, 2. All right. It don't look bad, and I got no engons. Oh, no. I forgot the other side.
You have an end on.
What's that?
I said you have an end on.
I have an engon. I do. I did it. Okay. Well, let's fix it. So, like, I recall, like having. Oh, you know what I could have just done? I think I could have collapsed that. Can I just collapse that too? Collapse. Boom. That would also work. It looks so much cleaner too. Man, I tell you, million ways to solve the problem, and it's like I land on the good one after I've tried a few things. That's just very typical. It's very, very typical. I'm gonna put that there. I would like to put the collapse though on my dock. I really like it, so I'm gonna do that. That looks better. Looks much better.
Is there a quick way to understand if you have an ingon?
What's that?
Is there a quick way to understand when you have an ingon?
Sort of. When I've got it on subdivision like that, I'll usually have something wonky. Let's see if I can show it before. See that? It shows that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. I hit 1, you can really see it. Harder to see it in 1, but 3 gives it a little easier to see. Also, you might find some weirdness with your normals. So I haven't had that issue come up, at least with this model, but I could maybe fudge it and give you an example of what that might look like. Where's the, I never remember what the hotkey for redo is. It's Control Y. Control Y. Please. You. Control Y. Oh, won't let it. Okay. Well, I'm just going to collapse you because that was the cleanest solution. Collapse. Collapse. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. This isn't really going to be an Engon problem, but I do notice that this happens sometimes. You'll have like weirdness here and you didn't realize that it would. I don't think I've seen. Can I just add a vert? I've never done that before, where I've just added a vertice for no reason. I know. I'll make an Engon the way I always accidentally make Engons. Okay. Okay, so oh, here's a way that I can find them. Sometimes these happening right here. Can you see that little highlight? How it like highlights 2 edges? Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop, whoop, whoop. That's a visual cue. That's one. Boop, boop, boop. Sometimes you're like, I want a ring select. And a ring select, by the way, is when you select an edge and then I come over here and I like click across from it and it loops around. I'm going to try to do that over here. Like bloop doop, it selected and looped it. That's not same behavior or same action, different behavior. So I've found that when things behave not like I intended them to, usually this like little floating vert problem is what is the reason. These little Engons. Otherwise, I think it's part of it. I feel like it's just kind of a thing you start to look out for. You start to like pay attention, and it just takes some practice, you know. I'm gonna do the same thing I did over here with my edge. Oh, that's right. I'm gonna select that guy and then double click this one so it loops select, but only to that point. And then I'm going to rotate I think I did a rotation. Yeah, like that. Ish. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with it so you guys can see what I'm doing. Oh, so pretty. Not at all, actually. Remove those. Remove that. Looking a little sloppy. Did I accidentally put it up and down? No, I didn't. Just doesn't look good. Okay. And now, top view. Cross that over. I think I am going to bevel this guy first. Bevel. It's too much. Edit pop up. Nope. Point 1. Yeah, that was about right. Collapse. Why are you way down there? Super weird. Oh, man. I'm going to select you. Collapse. Just need to be close enough to see. There we go. There we go. There we go. Look at that top view again. But I don't really need these to be too perfect since they're going to be covered up by the barrel base mostly. But now let me look at that one. Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now let me unhide my stuff. Control Shift hide. Control Shift H. Shift H. Control H. Shift H is the unhide, right? Shift H. There we go. All right. Okay. That's one way to do it. I want that closer though, so I hate it when I do that. Vertex. I never mean vertex face. I always mean vertex. There. Yeah, I like that. I think I can sculpt with that in ZBrush. Yeah. Yeah. Looking good. Oh, yeah. All right. Then what I would do is I would delete that, not do that shit again. Not saying that I didn't have the greatest time, but hey, I need to attribute editor. Thank you. Rotate you. Control D. 180. There we go. Now, if you want them to be perfect, you can line them up. Personally, I kind of think that, I could have mirrored them too. I could mirror them. I'll show you that some other time. That's a lot to take in today because we're doing a bunch of weird stuff. But you can mirror it. You can mirror it. Making duplicates is not a problem either. Feel like I'm gonna duplicate you. Excuse me. Duplicate. Pop you up here. make you all of these things. Let's go to mesh. Where does edit pivot live? Modify. Can never remember where they live. That's okay. Google knows. Center pivot. Modify center pivot. How did I not see it? Oh, because it's right there. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. Whoa. Well, okay. We'll make you a little wider, but thinner. Just it looks like what he did or what they did. To me, that looks the same. A little bit narrower. I don't like how it's beveling out a little too far. So I am going to fix that from an ortho view, or at least partially from an ortho view. Just a little bit. There we go. It's a little better. Opinions. Control duplicate, rotate, one in. Attribute editor, channel box. 180. All right, we're getting there. I could tighten that up considerably. That's pretty, well, those are pretty thick too. Those look a little too thick. Do they look too thick to you? I feel like, can I ask you a question, guys? Does my barrel look a little too thick? Do the bands
It's
look
on the thick side.
That's a thick barrel.
Those bands make your barrel look thick.
Glad you guys are liking the sound effects. I don't know if I can stop if you asked me to, I'll be honest. If someone is like, I really love her class, I wish she'd stop making noises when she's I would like, oh no, guys, we're in trouble.
That wasn't sarcastic. I do. It's entertaining.
I have a friend that gets in those modes, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I hate myself for doing it too. I can't stop. This is who I am."
I feel that intensely. Oh,
I think it's just the metal pieces that are a little too
I think so too.
tall and wide.
I feel, yeah, this is looking a little wide. That's true.
Buy another pair of jeans.
I feel like I could, because if I just get two of the two right, I can duplicate them, and yeah. So that feels, it's a little too thick.
I think you also need to move your bottom band down.
Yes, I definitely do. I haven't focused on it too much because I was trying to get these two right. Because once that's right, I think I could duplicate it down here. And this does, I feel like, needs to be lower too. Like it should be more like right there.
It just felt like a Muppets moment, like a voice just came out of nowhere when they're not in surgery. Like, where'd that voice come from?
Yeah. Move that down. Like that. It looks a little better.
I think you should put some jet engines on it.
Some jet engines.
Let's do some hard bashing here. Hit bashing.
Okay. All right. I could. Guys, good. This is feeling good. This is feeling really good. All right. We definitely need to add the cork, and we gotta add the little bolts. The bolts. Now, I mean, mine is not 1-to-1. I see that they're a little aggro on their slant, but I don't know that I like that. No, they're not. I mean, it feels like, I don't know.
How do you cut a hole? Say on the top, if you wanted to cut a hole.
If I wanted to cut a hole in here,
Yeah, how would you do that?
depending on where you want the hole to be,
Okay, so let's say
More
like
or less easy. On the side?
Oval on the side, yeah.
Oval
yeah,
on
yeah.
the side.
Yeah.
This would not be easy. Okay. I would start with how the subdivision handles itself. I would just see how that works first. What I mean by that is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to edit this dude. I'm going to bring this guy in. And let's say that I want it to be like right around here, like right in the middle of that polygon.
Yeah,
I'm going to see what happens when that goes. That's almost there. It's not great. But it's, like it's kind of wanting to. So
the hole.
What's that?
What did you click for the hole? What did you do?
Oh, deleted it. I just selected the face and deleted it.
Gotcha.
So like if I want to make a literal hole, I could select the face, delete, or, backspace. And it will create a hole for you. And the reason it's rounded, even though I have a quad that I'm selecting, is because I've got it under that subdivision still. So I've got it's being smoothed. Like if I did it here, it would just be a hole. It'd just be missing geometry. So I tend to like see how does this do at this stage, and am I comfortable with it? Every time. Face. There we go. And let's hit that. That's a little closer to maybe a hole I would like. And I mean, if the subdivisions are doing the job well enough, I'd leave it.
Right.
However, that might not be what you want to hear, like if I deleted this and then maybe edge loop, selected that, find myself kind of adjusting it based off of that. Now, I would not actually add a hole where I want the cork to be. I would just put a cork on there. And I'm going to do that right now on that guy. I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to grab brand new cylinder. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that's almost perfect. Cool. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to faces, move you over, uniform scale you down, pop you over here. Down, that's a little too big for a cork. We'll get it right. Now, let's see what that looks like with 3. Okay, it's a little bubbly. It's just a little bubbly. I mean, it almost looks like kind of a fun stylized cork. Almost. But it's got like, I got all these ugly lines. And you're right, you definitely do. So I'm going to fix that a little bit by
Edge loops.
Edge loops. You're right. A bevel would have helped too. I'm gonna be quick about it. Let's go face selection. Yep. Boom. Hot dog. Pretty good. Pretty good. It's going to be good looking. It's pretty cork. I would do one more thing. This is a little bit more optimization stuff. You will want to worry about this eventually, but if you don't have geometry being shown, then just delete it. Like, you don't need all that geometry in there. I actually might not even need this. Let's see how that looks when I do that. Ooh, that's pretty good. It's just like, pop that in right there. Bing pot. Getting that barrel looking good. Looking good. I will actually keep this the same object. No, I won't. I'm going to duplicate it. Never mind. Duplicate that. Faces. Move you up here. rotate you. What are the snaps? Can I snap them? Front. No. Give me right view. Yeah. Here we go. Do 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 do. Doop. Boop. Boop boop. Barrel looking cute. Barrel looking cute. I like the barrel.
You're recording this, right?
Yes, I am.
Cool, because I got to run the mud bay.
Okay, cool.
Thanks. See ya.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Of course, if people want me to model other stuff, though, I can't account for that, and I'll model that instead. So that could be a thing. But yeah, so this is almost ready to take it into ZBrush. I still feel like it needs some. Yeah, I think it still needs some bolts. It needs the big old bolts, and those are going to be separate objects. So I think those look like spheres to me. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, so I'm going to modify center pivot on everything, and then I am going to freeze transformations. Well, let me make sure that you're 0, 0, 0. Okay, good. Freeze transformations. Everything's 0, 0, 0. Good, good, good. That way, so check this out. Because I froze the transformations and they're all reset, if I'm like, but I want to look at this like, oh my God. Just messing around like, Can I do this? 0, 0, 0. Boom. The power of freezing transformations. Why it's good. Yeah. Now I'm gonna add some bolts. I'm gonna do that with, I think, spheres. But yeah, that'll be a little extra. No, that's too much. Or not enough. I'll do sphere. Sphere it is. But I don't need the whole thing. I just need part of it. So I'm gonna cut this in half. More than. I'm going to cut it like... I don't know. 2/3. Boop. Move you over here. I'm going to delete that because I don't need it. Perspective. Let's move you back to 0, 0, 0. See how close you are. I like that. Okay. Faces, uniform scale down to be roughly the size of a bolt. Roughly. Okay. Now, I was very careful to do it this way because what I did was I made sure that the pivot stayed in 0 and everything was centered. This guy was centered and at 0, and I moved this to be here at 0, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate them in very much a way many of you will want me to show you how to do that automated or procedurally, which we will do, but like this is a lot, so like let's stick with this for now. I'm going to rotate them and duplicate. So I'm going to just watch this. Woo! What? Like, yeah. Okay, calm down with that. Just move that over to about there. How's that looking? Pretty good. Duplicate again. Oh, I like that. That looks pretty good. I want to see it from the side. Yeah. Duplicate again. I'm going to put you right there. Duplicate again. Put you right there. Yeah. It's looking pretty good. This is super, super eyeball-y. That's okay. That is okay. How does it look? Oh, I see what they did. They're like, yeah, but then like, boom, boom. Yeah. I like how that turns out. So I think what I'm going to do with these spheres, these polyspheres, select all of them, duplicate again, and then just move them down. Boom. I do want them to be all one object though. So select those, go to mesh, combine, select everything. Delete history. Yeah. Cool. All right. Looking good. Yeah, we do need a couple more bolts for the top bands. This looks like they did it that way. Can I not? What'd I do? Okay. Okay. Whoop. Oh, did it do all of them? Oops. Okay. Oops, Daisy. Let's see what I did. Okay.
A lot of bolts.
Yep. Gets carried away. I got carried away. Put that down there. And then just delete the rest. Delete. 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 Okay. I'm going to make you guys one. Because I like it. Just feels right. Okay. My shelf. Delete history. Okay. Yay. Boom, boom, boom. All right. That's ready to go into ZBrush now. That's ready to go.
I like it.
Yeah. Look at this study hall crowd. Yeah, we do. We got a crowd going. Oh, Mariella's not here. She's just poking in. Most excellent. Okay. All right. All right. So this I'm going to rename as barrel wood. Metal bands. Actually, I think I want all the metal bands to be one. Yeah. Combine. You ungroup. Okay. Lid. Oh, I want the corks to be the same. Yeah, yeah. All right. Bolts. And what are you? What are you? Metal bands.
So when you bring it over to ZBrush, well, I guess you'll probably show this in a minute, but do you like export in an FBX and then
I
open it,
do.
or?
I
Okay,
do.
cool.
We want to make sure that everything here is set to 000 because
Oh yeah,
that's
or it gets
how,
all
yep,
crazy.
yep.
Yeah,
And they all are.
definitely made that mistake before.
Ooh, yeah, that hurts the heart. Definitely. So I'm gonna export this selection.
Especially the first time you do it and you have no idea why it's happening. I still, that's like a vivid memory.
no joke though. I've done this more times than I can count, and I'll still do it, and I'll be like, "Where did I go wrong?"
Yeah.
Like it. That's because I'm somebody who struggles with like attention to detail, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, especially like I don't know if you've messed with like rigging and that stuff, but with like rigging and everything, and especially animation, like it's not only the object origins you have to worry about, but you've got like all the bones and everything too. And if you accidentally like, I guess in Blender you've got like edit mode and pose mode, which are two totally different things. And if you like accidentally move something in edit mode instead of pose mode, it'll totally screw up the entire thing, and you get like a very similar issue. So you also have to make sure like every bone is set to 0, 0 as well.
yep. It's kind of like
And
that.
that's another thing that I've
It's like that
screwed
in
up and
MIT when you
spent a
rig.
whole day trying to figure out what went wrong.
I don't think I could ever be like a rigging artist or like a technical artist who focused on rigging. I think I
Yeah.
would. No, like I'm getting anxiety just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. Most of the animations that I have done and have needed to do are more simpler for like game animations. Like I've made little squishy dudes jump, and I've made animations like things like leaves move and particle systems and stuff. But when it comes to like proper rigging with bipedals and quadrupeds and
Oh yeah,
no, what I do
it's something I'll spend like maybe a day on for something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
But it's not something I could do professionally.
No, I could show you how to like retarget a character rig in Unreal so that you could apply animations that people have already made to your stuff. But like I can't like animate like good. I can't animate good, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's see. I always want to go to recent, but I need a new, so let's just hide that. Load tool.
Does Maya have like animation capability in
Oh,
rigging?
yeah. Hands
Oh,
down,
cool.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So part of the reason that different like studios will pick different DCCs to do stuff in is that they have different strengths. Maya's strength is animation, and almost I would say it has a lot to do with the preview, the subdivision preview that it has. Max has that. You have to wrangle with it a little bit more though. In Maya, it's just a hotkey built-in 1, 2, 3. You get the low.
Yeah, that's really nice.
You paint the way to build. Yeah, the animation pipeline in Maya is super handy. So you can animate in it. It's very, very handy. You can animate in Max, but Max is faster for I think is faster for modeling, for like doing what we did today. I feel like Max does that better, but they're both pretty good. Just that's usually why. It's like if you have an animation heavy studio, they're gonna pick Maya. If they don't, they might pick Max. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I need to import. Sorry, not load tool. Import. Do I not have it? Did I not do it? Did it not go out? Export selection. Barrel HP. Did I not? Is it not there? Do I not see it? Wait. FBX. Whoa. Because it's right there. All right, I got an idea. I'll just find you and drag you in. I think. Oh, I know now what I did. Oh, guys, pay attention. Don't name things and put them in places that you forget, because that's what I did. I have a folder that says desktop on my desktop. Cool. Good job. Good job, me. I did it. Oh my goodness. Let's try that one more time. Import. All right, not bad. Not bad. Okay. I've got something to start. Something to start with. Now if I did this right, which I believe I did. More tools. Oop. Oh no. No. Okay. I know how to solve this. ZBrush does this really, really annoying thing where if you hit a button and it pops up a window and you don't click on that window next and you click in the editor next, you can't do anything in the editor because the window
I
is
remember
open,
that.
overriding it. It's super freaking annoying. You can fix it. Maha. Go to ZBrush, find the window that's open and just cancel that. You don't have to cancel the whole thing. And now you're back in business.
Okay.
I remember that. It's super, super annoying.
Yeah, I think I remember that happening to me when I was
Yeah.
taking I don't remember which DMA because I've taken so many DMAs,
Probably
but
113. Probably 113.
it was with
You do a lot of
Miss
113.
Lawson, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so if I look at this correctly, if I did this right, subtools will have all of my assets be in different subtool layers, meaning I can just worry about one instead of all of them be on one big mesh, right? That's a huge advantage that I gave myself. I'm going to start with, I think, the barrel base, which is probably maybe the more interesting texture we have. It's just the barrel base. I definitely want to subdivide it maybe a couple times. Oops, I subdivided the cork. Didn't mean to do that. Cork, where'd you go, Cork? Where'd the cork go? That's so weird. Cork went away. Why? Okay, I'm just gonna re-import you. Thank you. Thank you. Woo-hoo-hoo. Back to here. Oh, I can turn those on. Those are fine. Geometry. Here we go. And we can start. Whoosh. Yeah, yeah. So let's see how we're going to go about this. I feel like there's going to be a couple of different brushes that you'll want to use. I haven't done wood in a while. So I'm going to see how slashes look. Oof, intense. Took down that sense. Nope. I want it sharper than that. Decorative drag? No. Chisel? Yeah, chisel's fun. Chisel's pretty intense also, so I like to tone it down. We can get some decent cuts in there. So just like with other modeling, when you're kind of doing anything, you really want to start with the bigger shapes. I would say that in this case, it would be the planks and identifying where those planks are going to be. So I'm going to just kind of block them in where I think they should go. Ooh, feels fun. This is a very rough kind of hand painty style, so you don't have to be super perfect with it. However, if you do want to be like perfect lines, if you hold down shift, it'll make that line kind of perfect for you. I do think that like keeping it a little rough makes it feel a little organic though, so I kind of like to do that. Right, come in here. Looks like there's like a little one there. I don't want to line it up perfectly there. I feel like it's no good. It's my sound effects again. Looks like there's one down the middle. Cork.
For our barrels in class that we're submitting,
Yeah.
are we going to go over like bump maps and different maps and stuff like that?
Not on this barrel. No, we will do that. So I'm gonna kind of resurrect the barrel assignment again for those that want to use the barrel can do it. And I'm basically going to show very similarly this process.
Cool.
But you'll have a few other additional references you can choose from. I don't like to make people, you say like always be picking new references, because if you're really not into 3D, but you have to take this class, like that's a lot of work. But if you're super into it, you want to model new stuff. You want to model different things. So I've got people who are kind of both mentalities in those classes, and I kind of like to keep it loosey.
Cool.
We're gonna do the normal bump pipeline. I'm gonna show you how to make those. You're gonna make a bender robot later for color maps, just to learn color materials and metal. And then we get to normals. So
Sweet.
Bender is one of my favorite assignments because he's one of my favorite characters. He's essentially a bipedal made of primitives. Like, that's awesome.
I'm gonna do the version where he's a human.
Where he what?
Where he's a human.
Oh no.
Just
You
rude.
would.
I'm just kidding. I won't do it.
Oh my gosh. You would. So I'm just cutting in.
Or just use the ZBrush human like body part presets they have. Those like
Done.
freaky.
Okay. All right. Oh, I mislined that. That's okay. I can fix it. So getting that cool chisel kind of in the silhouette here. Is this
Yeah, I was just asking about the maps because I remember, I think it was game design.
Yeah.
The game design class with you. I think that's what it was.
I see
Where
game design.
we did a barrel at the end of the class with the maps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're doing about that much with this barrel for the first assignment. That's to get everybody kind of into it, start modeling. But I grade them a little differently because in that one I'm focusing on, did you get the colors in Unity? You know, like did you? Yeah. This is a little different. I'm gonna have you focusing on like the geometry, right? And we're gonna I'm considering adjusting it so that we don't have to barrel for another week and then just doing Bender early, because I wanted you guys to play this week and just like really get your barrel looking as cool as you think you can for a barrel, you know?
Yeah.
And hence here we are with people like giving me freaking this shit. I mean, but it's excellent though. Like that's awesome. I'm so excited that people are getting excited and they're wanting to make things look better. Okay. So I got the barrel, like I think those guys in here, and I just keep kind of chiseling in here to what feels right. You can continue to subdivide to get a little bit more like resolution in that, and you could even we can make this chisel smaller to make the lines a little bit more. You know, I like to make little swirlies. Maybe that is my lazy is not going to be good. So yeah, I want to swirly. Put my lazy back, hotkey L, by the way. How you want to do these entirely up to you, but like it really is helpful to stick with like big medium, and small. Like already I can see myself like I'm in here like, yeah, but I want to like get in here. I want to like, you know, and yeah, I understand. Believe me, I do. So that's how I would start to get into this texture stuff. I want to show a few different things on this barrel though before I go, because I could spend probably the next 3 or 4 hours just doing wood texture in here and cutting in and doing this stuff. But I gotta chill, right? So I want to show you how do we get these like cool dinks and dents in the metal. So let's do that next. To the metal. Gonna select the metal subtool. I totally had a meeting like with the dean of academic affairs, and I missed it because I'm doing this. And that's recording now. Yeah. Oops.
Well, I
Okay.
appreciate it.
I'm having so much fun. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna do the band. I see what I did, guys. I accidentally have this guy hovering over here. I'm gonna fix that first because it's just bothering me. So I'm gonna go over here to my bolts. My bolts. I want to move those in. There's a couple ways to do it. I'm gonna show you the hacky way first. The hackiest way to do this is to use the move tool, because it does, or the move brush, because it does just that. It moves stuff. So you can just kind of like push it in, right? But like that's okay. That's okay for what we're trying to go for here. It's not perfect, but this is a very hacky way to kind of get it there. But that's not a perfect solution. Oh, it's got a little lopsided. The eyes are not matching anymore. So I'm gonna undo that. And let's look a better way. Let's the move tool. I am going to mask out everything but the bolts I want to move. Yay. Then we're gonna move it. Turn off draw. No. Do not switch. Move. I think I want to kind of rotate that guy. I can reset the pivot to be centered to it, I think. Yeah. Unlocking moves the pivot. Ooh. What happened? Where'd it go? No. Okay. Lock. Now I can rotate that, push him in a little bit. That is much better. Not perfect, but much better. Boop. All right. Okay. Unmask. I'm gonna mask you and then hit Control I to do the exact same thing, but just showing you a different way to do it. Mainly because I didn't think about it. Unlock. Move you down. That's almost exactly where I need you. I think that's probably good enough for me to get what I want out of it. Okay. All right. Turn off move. Turn back on to draw. Yeah. All right. All better. So minor tweaks you can usually handle. You don't have to go through the whole import export thing all over again if you don't want to. You don't have to. Okay. So now that I got those guys looking good, I'm going to, what was I going to do? I was going to do the metal bands. Okay. These are fun. So like carving in chisel into hard surface metal is one of my favorite stylistic things to do. And this particular reference does a lot of that. And I'm like, oh, like I want to do that. So I'm going to show you like my fast track to doing that. That makes me super happy. Okay, so click brush. And we're going to look at trim adaptive and trim dynamic. These are my two favies. So like with most things, you want to subdivide, get a good subdivision going. I'll show you what it does with a big brush. Katish. Okay, so that's trim dynamic, trim adaptive. That does that kind of hard chisel. And like if you keep your brush big, like you can just kind of like, and you kind of get like, you get that like real stylistic cut into it real fast, right? Like you can see that almost being like, wow, World of Warcraft style cuts in here. Now I'm obviously being a little extra with it. I wouldn't go quite that big, but I wanted to show you like a little amped up what that looks like. So I'm gonna do that again, but I'm gonna reduce the size of this, and I'm going to just kind of get in here and start telling some stories. You know, it's too big, too big. Cut that down, make that smaller. That good chisel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of drawing. I like doing this pretty much anywhere I have a perfect edge, because I don't like pristine perfect edges. I don't think they look good. I think it looks cooler when you give a little character to it. Like look at that already. If I pull back, already it's kind of giving me that cool, purposeful. That's trim adaptive. I'm gonna come back to trim dynamic. Sometimes that's a little bit more what I want. Yeah, I like to go over that. Feel it out. Like play with it a little and see what feels more right to you. The trim dynamic feels a little bit more intense than the adaptive, but the adaptive feels a little more like controlled and cut at some parts. So I don't know, like I toggle between the two and I go to town. I just go to town on it. Just get in here and go right. All right. I don't start here. I don't start with the high detail. You always start with the big, go down to medium, and then get to small. Right? Guys, have any questions? You guys just like good? You guys good?
No, yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm good.
Cool. We can add some texture or scratches on here. This is starting to get into a little bit more advanced stuff in ZBrush. Like we can create alphas that will like create cool like patterns in ZBrush if you'd like, but there's also a bunch of free ones out there. You could just go get some free scratches. I'm going to show you what's out here. Okay. Let's see, free ZBrush brushes. Shopping. Images. There you go. So let's see. I want to look at some grunge brushes, stuff like. Oh, look at that! Look at this. Free cracks. These might not be free, but like there are bundles out here that have these here for you that you could use and import into ZBrush and then have this as a brush instead of trying to like hand sculpt that. You could also make an alpha of these cracks and import the alpha as an alpha texture that you can apply to any of the brushes that are currently here, which is most of what these are typically going to be anyway, right? So anyway, you should know that that's a thing, and you don't have to go through like life thinking you have to do everything through the magic of your fingertips, because you don't. You can also make it easier for yourself. Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, and next I think I'll show. Oh, let's see. What do we have going here? It looks like there's just some kind of like noise happening on these bolts, right? Like I feel like they just kind of make them a little wobbly, like maybe they were banged on with a mallet or like a big hammer, because this is a very medieval barrel. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's probably what it is. So let me play around with that conceptually. So let's look at the bolts. I would definitely subdivide. Now, if your machine is like, okay, I can't handle all of these subdivides, I could totally get it. You can turn some stuff off. You can just start turning some stuff off so that it's not, or reduce it back to its low poly to render while you're doing some of this stuff. I have a pretty beefy machine, so I need to remind that you guys trying to do this, if you're trying to keep up, it might be a little weird. Okay, so I would actually probably play around with the clay brush, because to me, I kind of feel like that's what the hammer made it look like it was like chunks of clay, like boom, 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 boom. Maybe a little bit of hammering into it. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. I'm a hammer. I'm banging on the thing. Yeah.
It works better if you do the sounds.
Right? It does. It does. Boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the clay brush is working real well. I thought it might. It's working better than I thought it would. That's cool. I'm gonna look like a badass to you guys. Neat. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know. Normally, I'm like, try this one. I don't know. Try this one. I just kind of goof around, and it's very rare that like I'm right the first try. Let's go.
I feel like that's just one of those things about 3D modeling in general. Like half the time you're just kind of messing with random things until you get something to work, and then every once in a while it works the first try, and you're like, "Whoa, sweet!"
Yeah, especially
take
at first. That becomes less so. Like the more you do it, you definitely get a feel for what works really well in certain things.
Yeah.
And then you go there first, but you've had to have modeled like a handful of trees before. You had to have modeled hard surfaces enough for it to feel right, But yeah, like, and even still, like I was like, I haven't made wood in a minute. So I'm like, what, this chisel? No, not that slice. This one? Just kind of goof off. And yeah, like if you're used to feeling that need to like, I have to have the right answer. I need to know the right way. If that this is going to be hard for you. This is going to be really hard. I'm like that too. So I do get it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh man, that's looking kind of cool. Yeah. Guys, look what I made today.
I like it.
You're in your element.
I guess. I'm doing it.
Looks great.
Yeah. So I guess the next thing I would do is probably the cork, since the top part is going to just be more of the wood grain. I can do the top. Top is fun. Top and bottom is fun. Do the same thing. I would chisel. Oh, that fits really good. I did it. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. That little bevel right there. So good. Definitely remember to subdivide, because if I don't subdivide, it'll look real bad when I try to chisel and cut into it. So I'll show you what I mean. This is not subdivided right here. And watch me try to use the chisel tool that I was using earlier. Like, look what happens. Not great. Let's intensify that. It got the star in the middle. Ew.
What in the world?
Divide that.
Why was there a star in the middle?
Because that is the, here, I can turn on the, because that's the pattern of my topology. That's what my topology looks like in Maya. Now, I hadn't thought about this when I was modeling it. If you want to get ahead of that, you would have your topology want to match the direction of the grain of the wood. And that would prevent that from happening.
Oh.
Or do what I do and just subdivide the crap out of it. It's not my problem no more. You could also come in here into geometry and like Z remesher it. I could try that. Let me see what happens if I Z remesh. Should change the topology based off of the chisel I make. I'm gonna do it. Oh, it's thinking. Okay. Look at what happens to the topology. Boom. It redoes the geometry or the See what happened?
Yeah.
No, that's great. You can, so what it actually did too is it greatly reduced my geometry, and it's taking into account the details that I've sculpted into it. So it's not really what I want to do right now, but I wanted to show you that this is also a thing that can happen. So if you make
I see.
some topology stuff, be like, oh, I didn't think about that in Maya. ZBrush to the rescue. And it's not that bad. Not that bad. I'm going to turn off that because it's not pretty. Ugh, it's looking a little rough. I'm going to do another through it. Maybe divide again. Just kind of like cut into here. Get the big chunks down. Or maybe if you're going to be a little extra, like you want it to be thicker and thinner in other parts rather than be uniform, the same depth or whatever. That's a thing too. I like to play around with line weight when I'm sketching, and so I do also with some of these details. And then right again, I would maybe take the same tool, reduce the Z intensity, maybe even shrink my brush again to get the other wood grains. Oh, it needs to be higher than that. Yeah, more wood grain through here. Woo-hoo. I mean, now a Z remesh would be good. And then I can subdivide again from there and just kind of keep going. I could do that. It's thinking. When you do the Z remesher though, that there are settings you have here, and like what it's doing is it's reducing greatly how I have it set. My head is hiding it though. So like whoop, right here. We've got some settings here that you could play with. Yeah. If you want to. Do it? Yeah, it worked. Okay. Come back over here. And just so you know, when you do that, it collapses your geometry. Like your subdivisions are no longer saved. I don't have anything smaller than this anymore. Is that a problem? Depends. If you are going to use the low poly that you have here for any reason, that would be a problem. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's an issue. I will often use some of the base meshes that based off of some of the sculpts I've done. So like, for example, I've changed considerably the silhouette of the base barrel here. In which case I might re-export the low poly or maybe even one single subdivision to that should be my low poly instead of my old one that I have in Maya. Because the Maya doesn't have those little ridges around it, right? Like it doesn't have any of the cuts and silhouette into it. So yeah, that wouldn't work the same for me anymore. And in some cases, the process between where you start, like do you start with the low poly and then build and then make the high poly? That entirely depends on your preferences. If you're like, I want to do the high poly first, that's kind of what we're doing here. You know, yes, I started with a base mesh to build it, but I mean, we're going hard on the high poly at this point. I would maybe construct or edit and reform it to fit the high poly sculpt better after the fact before I did my bake. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will as we progress through 216. You'll start to, because we're going to do it. gonna be great. Right. Hmm. Cool. That's coming along. I need subdivide that. Nope. Too lazy. Wood. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Wood. Yeah. You want to get a little extra with it. Try not to make all of the lines the same width like I did, because I just went to town on all of it. Make some of them bigger and heavier, make some of them smaller so that you have a little bit more depth. I'm gonna make a couple heavier now, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. Yep. And then maybe a few smaller. If you could even see it. At this point, I'm being okay, calm down. It's fine. Looks great. So again, I could probably spend like several more hours just rinse repeating the process that I showed you here. And I try not to like do that because I would go heads down into one direction and not be able to touch everything. So I believe I've covered almost every texture except the cork now. We've got wood, how I showed you how I do the wood, or to start with the wood. That was looking a little rough, but that's what I do. Again, I did rinse repeat here. How we would do the chisel in the metal. I didn't go all the way around, but I could. It's really great fun to do that. Where is the metal chisel that I thought I had done? Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. It's a metal chisel. What else do we want to do? Maybe the cork. Keep forgetting about the cork. All right, cork. Let's see how they have it. Let's see how they do.
Their cork kind of looked like it was made out of wood. Does it have like some lines in it?
Load image. I don't know why it went away. Wait a second. It's right here. Close that. Okay, ZBrush. Yeah, they kind of just made it scratchy. Like, it looks like they did the same thing that they do for wood. Freaking amateurs. I'm kidding. I mean, if that's how they feel, that's what cork looks like. I feel like it wouldn't look like that, but maybe. Let me look at a cork. Yeah. Like, let's look at some pictures.
It's more like cheese.
Yeah. It is like cheese. Look at that. I mean, so there's some scratches in there. Oh, I've got 3D, huh? Pod 3D? Interesting.
Someone really likes that cork.
Somebody really spent a lot of time on this.
For 11 cents.
Oh.
I think the most like dominant feature that I'm noticing in a cork is like the more round divots.
Mm-hmm.
Like just kind of like chipped out.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like this, like the porous kind of hooks in them. Now that is interesting. How would I go about that?
That's the tough thing about cork, is it discolors it too when it's like chipped in.
You could do it with your bakes, with your maps in Substance and stuff. Let's go. I feel like clay, but maybe using an alpha, like a noise kind of, but we need to subdivide. We need, never forget to subdivide for your geometry.
Are we gonna learn substance in 216?
If we can get to it, I might do an overview on just sort of like a little bit of Painter. But
Okay.
217 is, I don't want to say a deep dive, but we cover overviews of several tools that you
Wait.
can deep dive
Yeah.
based off of.
Substance is something I've always wanted to learn. I've just never really gotten around to it.
Oh, so you can get substance like you could get the whole suite for free as a student with a student.
Oh, sweet.
email.
Yeah, I
go
need
get
to
it.
do
Go
that.
get it right now. Go get it.
Okay.
Go get it. It's free. Yeah. So, and their Learn hub is really strong. They've got a lot.
Yeah, I'm getting really sick of Photoshop for texture.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make you guys do Photoshop for Bender, but just because I'm teaching.
Well, that's
what
fine
color
because
maps
that's
are,
just
but
that's like really
it's
simple.
flat.
But yeah. And I've been using Photoshop my whole life, so it's not like I hate Photoshop. It's just for texturing. It's like I can tell substance is just on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's PBR. It's really
Yeah.
fun and super nice. Okay, close, but not quite what I want. What about you? Kind of. So what I'm doing is I'm trying out some of the alphas that they might have in here. And instead of the dots, which is I think, and normally we have no alpha for this brush. And here, I'll turn up the Z intensity so you can see what I do. This is what it would normally do. It would add or subtract volume, right? So rather than like go in by hand and try to like, I'm going to try to get that texture to feel right. Like we wouldn't really, we don't have to do that. That's way more work than I want to do. I'm going to change this to drag rect and find, I'm just looking to see if some of these maybe alphas would work well. And I mean, no, but I like where my head's at. No, that's more crack too. What are you? Oh, this is nice and interesting. This is kind of giving me a little bit more what I want, you know? And that's what I mean when you can create your own alphas, like either by hand because you're extra and you want to hand paint it yourself, or we could find cork texture here that would, we just convert to black and white, we crank up those levels and then import that on into ZBrush for that texture brush that we want. You no longer do you have to hand sculpt it all. I don't know if I could find a good what if I just did cork alpha? What would that pull up? Oh.
What is that visor?
Almost. I mean, this could be interesting. Cork texture. Oh. Ooh, how did you do? Tell me, Render Hub. We've gone down a rabbit hole. You gonna show me your maps? Come on. You gonna show me your maps? Show me. Come on, show me. Okay.
I think I found my next barrel assignment reference.
Yeah? You want to share it in the text channel? Oh my god, that's awesome. You found a level. You're gonna make a level. The whole environment that is a giant barrel.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I was trying to find other angles of the reference photo that I'm doing right now, but I found that one in the meantime.
It's extra.
It's pretty good. My art teachers would say, find the big shapes and block those in and then sculpt the medium and then get the little textures in there. And I'd hand sculpt it, but like, I'm not going to tell you that. And then they'd show me that, oh, by the way, you could do this cool alpha trick. But I mean, in a way, I think you could probably maybe even get away with using some of the alphas that are currently in here to try to create something like that. So just like looking at it, I do feel like there is some like noise that can kind of start us off with some new shape. Maybe we can put in some cracks because I feel like there were cracks. Up, vice versa. No,
Hey, why are these little like barrel houses like actually a thing?
because baby boomers own all the real estate and we have to live somewhere. That's why.
I live in a barrel.
That's so funny. I was like just trying to find my reference photo again. And I'm seeing so many of these.
There is a noise brush. Let me see what you do. Noise.
Turns out it's just like an actual barrel size. They're just like super tiny, little fairy homes.
Or like a hamster.
Woo! There we go. That cork. Oh, but it shrunk. Oops. Mm-hmm. Heh. Heh. Guys. I'm going to pick a new material because I want it to look better than red. What does our dude have? He's got like matte cap on here. Let's see. Matte cap gray. Is that what he has? Let's see. This is our dudes. This is my stab at it. This is my attempt. Let's see. All right. Not bad. Ooh. No. No. I think it's Matt Cat. I think that's what he's got happening here. And let's just be a little extra and I'll do a little quick render. Scott, make it look good. Boom. Did it.
Nice.
Did it, guys. We did it.
I love it.